ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Belichick's Bitches podcast, the number one podcast in the world, using some sort of metric, using the best source, the only source. Do trust me. I'm your host Brennan, and along with me, as always, is my co-host Tyler.
Jesus, you do sound like shit.
Thank you. I very much appreciate that.
We got a COVID patient over here. As my mic is making different colors for some reason. That's not good. Um, yeah, it was a little late coming out, but you had to wait for your COVID test, and you'll get better soon, hopefully. Next couple of days.
Yeah.
You've had it for what, a few days, so you'll get better.
A week.
Yeah, you'll get better eventually. But so we're just gonna run up through the real quick. Shouldn't be a too long of an episode. There's only 6 games. It's Wildcard weekend, so just get into it. Colts Bills. I'll be honest, it was a lot closer than I think everyone thought. I didn't have the Colts being in the game that much. They played pretty well, considering they were way out of their, overall team play. But I think Allen had another really good game.
Oh yeah.
2 touchdowns. He led the team in rushing.
That's the thing about the Bills. That's what I worry about is they don't really have a good rushing attack. Their best rusher is Josh Allen, and that's kind of concerning.
Yeah, especially with Zach Moss going down in the game. So now they have Singletary, of course, and now they have, I think, Devontae Freeman. They signed to the practice squad. Yeah, so that's a little worrying. Yeah, but one thing the Bills do have to make up for that rushing attack is the passing attack. I mean, Gabriel Davis. I don't think many people knew Gabriel Davis going into this season. He's had a freaking amazing year. He's taken over that John Brown role that I thought John Brown would have. He made a couple, right? 3 sideline catches.
Yeah, I saw those. Those are pretty
in a row.
Nice.
Diggs had another great game as usual. But what I didn't understand is it's the end of the game, right? And it was bad. It was kind of back and forth, but the Bills were always a step ahead. So, fourth quarter, 10 seconds left. The Colts have the ball at the Bills, 40. And instead of trying to play for a field goal, they kind of threw 2 passes out of bounds for some reason, and which set up a Hail Mary. And Phillip Rivers, I don't know if you saw a Hail Mary attempt. It was quite sad. It wasn't really a Hail Mary. It was just a throw into triple team because he didn't even hit the end zone.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers just doesn't have it.
Why didn't they put in Brissett for that play? I don't understand. I mean, your chances of making that play are probably 2%, but your chances of making that play when you can't throw it to the end zone is 0. So I didn't understand the play call. Rivers, he looked like Breeze on that last play. Just it wasn't even close. So they're eliminated. The Colts roster is so good. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're
that roster is
they
so
have a really good roster. They just lack a quarterback and consistency.
So, yeah, they need it, and they also need to find a more consistent pass rush.
Yeah,
because Buckner is really good, and they have another really good nose tackle, that rookie, but they just lack a constant edge threat, and they need either Kamoko Toure or I think the other guy is EJ Speed. Or is EJ Speed a cover backer? One of those guys. They need someone to get a better pass rush if they really want to get to the next level. Other than that, the Bills will face Baltimore next week, which that's probably going to be the most interesting matchup of the week.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Beside the NFC South rematch. And, and then, that little piece. Jared Veldier played left tackle for the Colts in the playoff game. And he got waived afterwards. And he got picked up by the Packers. So he's going to be the first player to play for 2 playoff teams in the same playoffs.
Yeah, and Colts tackle Anthony Costanzo has announced his retirement as well.
Yeah, he's been injured a lot the last couple seasons, so can't really say that's surprising. But, So it was actually a pretty good game. I was surprised.
Yeah, most of these games are
But
relatively decent.
well, except for the next game.
Yeah, this one was just boring. The Rams and Seahawks game was boring. I don't know how Jamal Adams got scot-free on that targeting hit on John Wolford that
Mhm.
sent him to the hospital.
Yeah, it was a severe stinger. They said.
But yeah,
Um,
that wasn't called. No targeting call
yeah,
on that play.
yeah. And another thing that I noticed is I don't understand how such a good offense relies solely on DK Metcalf performing well. You know what I mean? I think if they showed the stats, when DK Metcalf doesn't have like over 5 catches, they almost lose every game.
Jeez.
They are just inconsistent. I mean, you can't rely on one receiver
No.
to get everyone else open.
Especially when
You
they're being
know
shadowed by Jalen Ramsey the entire game.
exactly. I mean, the one touchdown that DK had was a play where they ran. It was the Seahawks were running man, or not Seahawks. The Rams were running man coverage, which they normally don't do. They're running a man coverage, and they just ran two crossing routes, and Ramsey got picked off. It wasn't even technically a legal route. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you gotta have a scheme that isn't just DK Metcalf. Please get us 2 touchdowns, and that's why Schottenheimer got fired. Um, People are gonna say philosophical difference. He sucked that game. It, yeah, no, he wasn't gonna come back regardless. Um, do you think Pete Carroll should be on the hot seat? Because
Yeah. He's
kind of
probably
leaning
not,
that way.
but
He'll get another season, but
yeah.
it's iffy. That team's too talented to be one and done in the wild card. You know,
They've just had
but
so many problems this season with their performance. At first, it was the defense,
yeah, and then it was
as
also
of
in the offense.
then it just
Yeah,
completely switched to being the offense. It's
yeah.
at
They
that
never
point you
put
gotta
a
chuck it up to
complete game.
coaching and not just
Yeah.
having a lack of talent. They still need to add a lot more pieces, but at this point, when you see it like just switch on a dime like that, it's more up to coaching than anything else.
And what's really concerning is they don't have a first round pick from the Jamal Adams trade.
Yep.
The Jets own that pick.
I mean, they wasted
So
first round picks anyway, so
I know, but like even Adams, I mean Jamal Adams hasn't had the best impact in that scheme, mainly because he's not covering deep like he used to in the New York. They're pretty much solely using him as a linebacker, and that's not a bad thing, but that's not where you want to be spending first round picks,
yeah.
multiple first round picks. You know what I mean? So I don't know. When you have a guy like Adams, you want him being everywhere. You want him being deep. You want him rushing the passer. You want him playing middle of the field, covering the tight ends. You don't want to just have him stick in the middle of the field every play, and that's it. And that's been a huge issue with Seattle is their defense is so. I don't know. I don't want to put the word, but it doesn't utilize the players ever since they lost Chancellor, Thomas, Sherman.
Yeah.
It just doesn't utilize their players. But so yeah, I don't know what's going on, but Seahawks. Carroll should be on the hot seat if he doesn't get something together this season. And Rams go to play the Packers. If the Rams had a quarterback, I think they'd be a good trendy pick to beat the Packers.
I would agree.
The only thing is their quarterback is going to be like 15 days or 18 days removed from a severe hand injury,
A thumb dislocation.
and their
Yeah.
backup is most likely going to be out with that stinger. So
Blake Bortles.
you know what I mean. Hey, Bortles has more playoff wins the last 3 years than Ben Roethlisberger.
True. This is
You know
very
what I mean?
true.
Oh, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So we'll see, but I don't think the Rams have enough firepower to beat the Packers. As much as I hate saying that. Washington.
The football team, they were so close.
Our prediction wasn't far off.
They were so close.
And it wasn't even Smith. It was, well, everyone knows his name now.
Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. A bunch of people were cracking open the beers for him, which I thought was funny. They made that edit of him with the beer ad.
I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, it's a Heineke beer, and it just has his face on it. It's pretty funny. He had an insane performance. I don't know. Let me if I can find the exact numbers because it was a few days ago, but it was an insane game. Find the box. There it is. 26 for 44, 306 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, which the pick wasn't even his fault. And he had 46 yards on the ground and a touchdown. That's insane. What else? Logan Thomas had another good game, 5 for 74. But sadly, they were playing one of the hotter teams in the league, and they were playing Tom Brady. So came up a little short. The Washington defense could not stop anybody.
Yeah, which was weird because that's been their best part of their entire team this season. They've had like a top 10, borderline top 5 defense the whole year. And they just kind of
I don't know if you saw it, but what really hurt them was Young not being really that active. And you want to know who shut down Young a lot? It was Gronk.
Really?
Gronkowski was left one-on-one a lot with Young. He didn't let up a single pressure. And he did really good. I think Young got past him once, but Gronk the ball was gone by then. I was really shocked. But yeah, Young being blocked one-on-one by a tight end allowed for Wirfs to cover guys like Jonathan Allen and Iodonis, and they just couldn't get any going from there.
Yeah, Deron Payne was their best threat that game. He got through, I think, twice.
Yeah. But I think Heineke though he definitely proved one thing though. He's gonna get a job somewhere next year, whether it's with Washington or somewhere else. He's gonna be an attractive. Yeah. Because every team needs a backup quarterback. I think all 32 teams could say, hey, we could probably use a backup quarterback. So, trust me, Heineke will have plenty of callers this offseason. Whether it be, maybe, who knows, he might just stay with Washington. He could compete for Washington's starting job if they believe highly of him. I don't think that'll happen, but you never know.
Yeah.
And that was Brady's 31st career playoff win. Just ridiculous.
I just rolled my eyes. You're welcome.
The Bucs played the Saints this
One of
week.
the few times Brady has actually won a playoff game on the road.
Oh God, I did it again.
Yes, you did.
I think it's like Lamar and him have the same amount of playoff wins on the road. Just in case you haven't heard anything stupid today. So that was pretty cool. I was kind of bummed that Heineke didn't get the win for his efforts, but yeah. I mean, even I was rooting against Brady in that game. I mean, come on, how can you not?
I think most people were, just regardless. Heineke like just made it so much Bucs better. Fans.
Yeah. So we'll see. Now I don't know if can the Bucs actually beat the Saints? So I don't know about that. See, I was actually wrong. Have you heard the adage that it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a pretty common thing you hear. It's actually not. Teams are, I think Mike Reese said, they were 14-7 when going for a 3-0 sweep.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually not as hard. I always thought it was. I used to think that too. It's not. So Buccaneers definitely the underdogs in this game.
Come on, Breezes. Let's get it done.
I don't know about that. Ravens Titans. God, that was the one of the boring playoff games. It was boring.
Yeah, Derrick Henry got shut down hard time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was that. It was Lamar was getting pretty clowned on in the first quarter. He threw a pick right to Malcolm Butler. And I mean, like right at Butler.
Yeah. That wasn't a pretty
Who is,
throw.
by the way, Malcolm Butler in the playoffs is Darrell Revis, and then every time else he's just Malcolm Butler.
Okay.
But
Okay.
something about playoff Malcolm Butler, he's just insane. Speaking of which, he had another drop pick. Butler. It was interesting. But other than that, the Titans just can't get off the field on third down.
No, the Titans are terrible on third down defensively.
I mean, corners can only cover it for so long.
They need edge rush. They need some sort of pass rush. Desperately.
Yeah, Clowney will be gone next season. Harold Landry can't do it himself.
And he hasn't even been that great either.
No, he definitely is going to be the type of guy that needs another pass rusher next to him. And he just hasn't had that yet.
Well, bright spot for the Titans is that this draft class is pretty deep at edge rusher.
Yeah. And especially with how high the quarterbacks are ranked, there's going to be more edge rushers taking later.
Yeah.
Than normal. Just because there's going to be like 4 or 5 quarterbacks go in the top 12, 13.
Oh, yeah.
So
There's a possibility.
There's
possibility of 6, but Desmond Ritter
it all
decided
depends
he
on
wanted to
how.
stay.
Yeah, Desmond Ritter. Yeah, it sucks. I was high on his tape too. He was climbing up my my boards, and then all of a sudden he's gone now.
Yeah.
Dang it. Yeah. I don't know. There's really not much to say about that game. It was just a bad. It wasn't even a good defensive game. It was just a bad offensive game.
Yeah, it was just offensive ineptitude.
Yeah, I don't know about the Ravens, man. They were hot going into the playoffs, and then it looked like they hit a wall last week. They tried to go back to too many. They kept trying to throw it, and they have Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
run the ball, man.
They're trying to be too cute for some reason. They want to go away from what works, for some whatever reason.
Breaking tendency works, but when you're good at what you're originally doing, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can't be somewhat decent and then decide to break tendency because it don't work like that. Teams kind of think that if you break the tendency, it'll work. It doesn't work like that. You have to get good at your basics, and then you can branch out and do whatever you want. So the Ravens just need to. Keyword of advice: if you want to beat the Bills, run the ball.
Yeah.
And run the ball. Keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. Put it in last year's MVP's hands, and let him win the game. That's really the key for the Ravens, and I don't know if they're going to do it because it's just they don't seem to let Lamar do what he wants half the time. Let the man run. You saw the touchdown run. Let the man run.
Yeah, that was an impressive run. Like
it was. I think someone called it like Harbaugh called it the best quarterback run of all time. I was like, he didn't have it to death. Brady juking out Urlacher is still better, but
okay, yeah, sure thing, bud.
Listen, man, that was still historic.
Another boring game.
Oh my god! No, if the Ravens and Titans were boring, this one was just
a snore fest.
It wasn't even a football game; it was a slaughter. I mean, first of all, the Bears' defense played out of their minds. They should not have held the Saints to 21 points.
Yeah.
At all.
The Bears' offense
Saints
could not do anything.
I don't think I've ever said this before. Someone saved Trubisky. He made some decent freaking throws in that game. He had, 2 touchdowns dropped?
It was a
Something
Nickelodeon MVP.
They voted for him out of pity, man. The kid. Speaking of Nickelodeon, I watched the Nickelodeon broadcast for like 10 minutes.
I watched it for the whole game.
I'm sorry. I don't know, man. I couldn't do it. But I got to give props to the guys. They did a good job covering, considering they had to explain every single rule that came up. I couldn't do that to kids, man. I don't have the patience to explain what a first down is. You know what I mean?
Just watch. It'll make sense.
I don't have the patience for that. So I got to give them. They did a good job of explaining things, but it wasn't for me. I went back to the CBS broadcast. I don't think it's something we're going to see a lot of in the future because the ratings boost wasn't that major. It was a slight bump. Granted, it was the Bears, so who was really going to care
Yeah.
beyond the hardcore football fans? Not many people. For most people, it was just kind of a break. And did you see what Jimmy Graham did at the end of the game, though?
No.
So he scored a touchdown, right? It was a great catch. It was one-handed. He had to fully extend over them. It looked like, prime Jimmy Graham. He caught it, and it was time had expired, so they didn't have to run a point after. He just went straight to the tunnel after he caught it. Like, in full stride, just went straight to the tunnel. I thought it was funny. Yeah, that was like the highlight of the game. And Chuck Pagano retired. Hey, what a way to go out. Poach your best defensive game probably of the season. Go out.
Yep.
I don't see an issue with it. People were clowning on him for the Bears defense. The Bears defense was a lot better this season, I think, than everyone thought, considering they were not good last year. So
Yeah, they really had a bounce back year this year.
Bears are really not going to like next year when the defense is even worse.
Yeah, and the offense is still
They
going
really
to be probably terrible.
Trust me, Pagano was not the issue with that defense. So we'll see. But again, that was definitely a boring game. just seeing the highlight of the game, the Browns. I didn't watch the first quarter, which I am ashamed of myself.
I did.
I'll let you cover it. Because
I watched
what happened was I watched the end of it, and then I went to go. I don't know what I went to go do something because I was prepping for. I had class on Monday. So I was prepping for it. So I was sending emails to my teacher. So I did not get to watch the first quarter. I look at my phone, and it's like 2 minutes into the second, and their Browns are up 28-0. I'll let you take over. I didn't get to watch it, but it was beautiful.
I guess I made the right prediction picking the Brownies. They actually did what they're supposed to do with running the football, which is great, and the Steelers' offense just absolutely collapsed. Like, immediately there was no production. Like, I think Big Ben threw like 2 or 3 picks just in like the first quarter or even first half. The Browns to be fair to the Browns, they absolutely capitalized off of every single one of those. It was just a slaughter fest. For not having your coaches, they did extremely well.
That's like the most insane thing about it to me is they didn't have their coaches. They had no practices throughout the week. Everything was online. And they went, but I think what really happened is they just went out with a fire under their ass.
Hey, you know the Browns is the Browns.
See, when you're a team like the Steelers, you were 1-4 in your last 5 games, right? You're struggling. You don't have an offensive identity. Why are you talking shit?
Because it's Juju.
If you're 14-2 and you're the hottest team in the league, you can talk some shit. Like the Ravens last year. They were talking shit to New England. They went out and they beat our ass. Makes sense. If you can back it up, talk your shit. If you're 1-4 in your last 5 games, maybe it's not the smartest idea to rile up your opponents who are already underdogs. Just an idea. Just laying that one out and just backing up. Yeah, and then they were playing Corvette over the loudspeaker, which I thought was the funniest part. Yeah, it was a slaughter. 4 interceptions. 4 for Big Ben. Against a not very good pass defense. I mean, Browns aren't known for their secondary. Yeah, it was bad. So, and the Steelers are in cap hell. I didn't even realize this. Roethlisberger has a $40 million player option he could accept.
Oh, yeah.
So Steelers about going 6-10 next season. Yeah, that's bad. And Juju's a free agent, I think. Something like that. Somebody's a free agent. I think Juju. And then you see Claypool went on Instagram Live.
Bud Dupree, Alejandro Villanueva, Avery Williamson, Mike Hilton, Juju, Jordan Berry, their punter.
Isn't James Conner coming up to
James Conner as well, yes. Yeah, those are like the biggest names.
That's a lot. And they already have a lot of money committed to other guys. And they have to pay TJ Watt. I mean, it's a lot, man.
It's
But
a lot, man. Yeah, they have to play.
and then
They have to play TJ. Well, next year, 2022, they have Roethlisberger, Hayden, Pouncey, DeCastro, Ebron, McDonald, Fitzpatrick, Edmonds, Watt, and James Washington.
okay, so yeah, the Steelers are going to look very different 2 years. That's pretty bad. So the Browns will play the Chiefs this week. We can only hope. Well, since Brendan's sick, we're just gonna get our predictions done. We're gonna give him a week off of the Player of the Week because I'm pretty sure the Player of the Week is cough. No. We'll give him a week off. Yeah, I was saying take the whole week off, but he's the one that pushed the show. I was trying to give him a week off. So I guess we'll just jump into it. It's the first playoff game. We'll get the boring one out of the way. I'll let you go first.
It's just hard to pick against the Packers in this one, even though I want to pick the Rams because I don't know how healthy Goff is. If Goff is healthy, I'd take the Rams, but he's probably not going to be healthy, so I'll take the Packers.
I have to agree. I really do hope the Rams go out there and pull off an upset. I think it'd be a cool story. And I think McVay is coaching amazingly considering all the obstacles the team's facing. But at the same time, that if Devontae Adams gets any separation from Ramsey, the game's over. Right then and there. Especially with Aaron Donald being hurt too, and they don't know his availability. I have to pick the Packers by a touchdown. I just don't think you can bet against him at this moment. What's the other game? Tampa Bay and New Orleans. New Orleans is New Orleans is 2-0 in this series this season. One with an embarrassing performance. That was that 38-3 game. You know what? I'll be nice. I'll pick Tampa Bay.
I'm picking New Orleans.
Playoff Brady. If you ask me, I prefer playoff Brady over playoff Breeze. I'll go playoff Brady, but it's not going to be an easy game for them. They have to have a really good defensive game for them to win. And relying on that defense is a little risky, considering they just got torn up by Tyler Heineke. So, yeah.
And plus Breeze has Slant Boy back too. So
he caught a slant. Slant Boy caught a slant. That was funny.
Was I wrong?
Michael Thomas is always also the first NFL player to get slimed. That's gonna be a trivia question. 20 years.
Not even actually slimed, it was virtual slimed.
Well, same thing. Actually, the first coach to get slimed was Sean Payton, though. He actually did get slimed. He got slimed with Air Jordan 11s on. Those $225 shoes.
Why would you spend that much money on shoes?
And because it's Sean Payton. He hoops money. Do you think he cares if he gets some green on some $200 shoes? I don't think he does. Ravens at the Bills. I feel like both kind of gonna go with the Bills here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
take
with the Bills.
But it's definitely not like the Ravens. Yep. And I think the Ravens, if they want to win, they just have to take control of the clock early. And I think that's something they're capable of doing. And that defense peaked last week. So if they can keep that up, I don't think it's going to be a rout. I'll take the Bills by 7.
Yeah. These are the only two teams that can beat the Chiefs in the AFC right now. So this is going to be
each other up this week.
This is going to be a big game.
It's weird seeing both 6 seeds in the playoffs still after Wildcard weekend. Speaking of 6 seed, Browns versus Chiefs. Man, are you going to go 2 weeks in a row?
I don't think I can pick the Brownies here. They don't have the personnel needed on defense to compete with the Chiefs. They can control the clock, but I don't think they have the right defensive personnel to be able to slow down the Chiefs' offense with many teams have been doing as of recently. They don't have the two elite safeties that can really shut down Mahomes and keep him in check.
What needs to happen for the Browns to win? I'm picking the Chiefs, by the way, by 10. But what needs to happen if the Browns want to somehow win, it's going to take 2 things. It's, I think, very simple. Myles Garrett having the game of his life. And Baker Mayfield having the game of his life. That's it. Baker Mayfield needs to have like maybe 350 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns, and Myles Garrett needs to have 4 sacks. I think the probability of both of those happening at the same time is not very good. So I'm gonna go Chiefs by 10. It'll be an interesting game though.
Yeah.
It's just how long can they keep up?
I'm taking the Chiefs as well.
So I mean, we'll see. I think I was like 4-2 last week, if I remember correctly, or 3-3, one of those two.
I was 1, 2. I was 4-2.
Yeah, I think we're
The
about
Rams
even.
and football team wrong.
Yeah,
You were 3
and
and 3.
I mean it'll be interesting, but it's playoff football. Anything can happen. But go Rams and Browns.
How boring that we're picking the 1 and 2 seeds from each conference
Yeah,
to
I
be
know.
in the championship.
But it's just one of those things where well, I picked the Buccaneers. I
Yeah,
was
that's
more
true.
dangerous, but I picked the Bucks. But at the same
I
time,
picked the Rams if Goff's healthy, so
yeah, it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. And like I said, that it's the Buccaneers really don't have a good percentage chance of winning, just the way it goes. But at the same time, it's playoff Brady, so you never know.
I
I'll go
need
with
like a
playoff
little
Brady.
clicker to count how many times I've rolled my eyes this podcast.
Well, I don't playoff Brady. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna let Brennan get some sleep because he sounds like he's freaking
I'm not
going through
tired.
hell right now.
I slept for like 12 hours.
Shit.
I'm not tired.
You don't know how you sound.
I know how I sound.
Okay, we'll head out. We'll see y'all next week. Be more upbeat.